Could the werewolf myth be more than a horror story? What if these tales were rooted in something real? For thousands of years, stories have circled the globe about creatures that walk like humans by day and prowl like wolves by night. The werewolf, a terrifying figure, part man, part beast, has haunted human imagination for centuries. But where did this legend begin? And why has it endured so powerfully across cultures and generations? The idea of men turning into wolves isn't a modern Hollywood invention. It's a belief that traces all the way back to ancient civilizations. Take ancient Greece, for example. One of the earliest recorded stories of human-to-wolf transformation is that of King Lycaon. As the myth goes, Lycaon angered Zeus, the king of the gods, by serving him a meal made from human flesh. In disgust and fury, Zeus cursed Lycaon, transforming him into a wolf. This gruesome tale not only emphasized divine punishment, but also introduced the concept of transformation as a result of immoral behavior. The name Lycaon even gave rise to the term lycanthropy, the condition of turning into a wolf. Greek literature and culture frequently reference men turning into beasts, especially under the influence of the gods. Yet it wasn't just a metaphor. Many Greeks feared such transformations could really happen, especially when divine forces were at play. This shows that even in early times, people struggled to understand the boundary between man and animal, between reason and instinct. Further north, in the icy lands of Scandinavia, Norse mythology carried its own terrifying tales. The infamous berserkers, fierce Viking warriors, were believed to channel the spirits of animals, like bears and wolves in battle. These fighters would wear the skins of animals and enter battle in a trance-like fury, biting their shields and screaming like wild beasts. While not literally transforming into animals, these berserkers were believed to possess the strength and spirit of wolves or bears. Some even claimed they had the power to shapeshift. This idea that wearing an animal's skin or spirit could change your nature likely fed into the werewolf mythos. But the fear of werewolves didn't stop at myths and oral stories. In medieval Europe, the werewolf became something darker, something real and punishable. From the 15th to 18th centuries, Europe was swept by a tide of werewolf trials, much like the infamous witch hunts of the time. Villagers believed that some among them had made pacts with the devil and gained the power to turn into wolves to harm others. Perhaps the most notorious case was that of Peter Stubbe, a German farmer from the town of Bedburg. In 1589, Stubbe was arrested and tortured until he confessed to being a werewolf. According to his confession, he had been given a magical belt by the devil, which allowed him to transform into a savage wolf. Stubbe claimed to have murdered and eaten several people, including children. His execution was brutal. He was broken on the wheel, beheaded and burned. While modern historians believe these confessions were likely forced and the stories exaggerated, the fact remains. People were terrified, and many truly believed werewolves walked among them. These beliefs weren't limited to Germany. In France, the werewolf of Gévaudan is said to have terrorized the countryside between 1764 and 1767, killing over 100 people. Eyewitnesses claimed the creature looked like a giant wolf, but moved with eerie human-like intelligence. The French military even sent soldiers to hunt the beast, which only added to the legend. Though modern explanations point to a rogue wolf or hyena, at the time, people were convinced it was a supernatural creature, a werewolf. So why did the idea of the werewolf take such strong hold? One reason may lie in the medical understanding of the time, or lack thereof. People who suffered from certain conditions were often labeled as cursed or monstrous. Take hypertrichosis, a rare genetic disorder that causes excessive hair growth all over the body. In a world that didn't understand genetics or biology, such individuals were seen as unnatural, perhaps even part animal. Similarly, mental health conditions like schizophrenia or delirium could cause hallucinations or violent outbursts, further leading others to believe a person was possessed or transforming. This blend of folklore, fear, and misdiagnosis laid fertile ground for the werewolf myth to thrive. And even as science progressed, the fear of transformation remained. In fact, modern psychology has identified a condition known as clinical lycanthropy, a rare psychiatric syndrome where individuals genuinely believe they are transforming into wolves or other animals. Documented cases from the 20th and 21st centuries reveal how real and disturbing this delusion can be. In some patients, this belief is so strong they exhibit animal-like behavior, growl, crawl, and insist they are no longer human. There's another strange connection, the full moon. For reasons we still don't entirely understand, humans have long associated the moon with madness, hence the term lunatic, derived from luna, the Latin word for moon. Hospital and emergency staff even today often report spikes in unusual behavior during full moons. Though science hasn't confirmed a direct cause and effect, the belief is deep-rooted. It's no wonder then that the full moon became the symbol of transformation in werewolf stories, a perfect representation of mystery and unpredictability. Even more fascinating is that werewolf myths aren't unique to Europe. Around the world, stories exist of humans transforming into animals. In India, tales of were-tigers are common. In Africa, tribes speak of were-hyenas, terrifying beasts with both human and canine traits. Native American traditions speak of skinwalkers, witches who can take the form of animals and are feared to this day. In Japanese folklore, the kitsune, a fox spirit, can transform into a human to trick or help others. These aren't just coincidences. Across every continent, humans have imagined what it would be like to lose our human skin and become something wild. It reveals something deep in our psyche, the fear and maybe even the desire to lose control, to become something untamed. As we move into the modern age, werewolves have evolved from folklore into pop culture icons. No longer just creatures of fear, they're now anti-heroes, misunderstood monsters, and even romantic leads. The 20th century saw a massive revival of the werewolf myth, beginning with films like Werewolf of London, 1935, and The Wolfman, 1941. These early horror classics helped cement the modern image of a werewolf, a tortured human who transforms under the full moon, often against their will. Hollywood gave werewolves a visual identity, hairy, snarling, bipedal beasts with human features and wolf instincts. But beyond the fangs and fur, these stories often portrayed a deep inner conflict. The werewolf became a symbol of our duality, the civilized self versus the primal beast within. This psychological angle gave the myth new depth, allowing it to survive and thrive in modern storytelling. In the 1980s and 90s, films like An American Werewolf in London and The Howling pushed the boundaries of special effects, making the transformation scenes truly terrifying. These films didn't just scare audiences, they fascinated them. The idea that someone could live a normal life, then suddenly be overtaken by animal instinct, hit close to home. It played on our fear of losing control, of becoming someone or something unrecognizable. Then came the 2000s, and werewolves got a rebrand. With franchises like Underworld and Twilight, werewolves became sleek, muscular, and often heroic. These characters struggled with their condition, but used it as a source of strength, not just savagery. They fought vampires, protected humans, and even fell in love. This shift reflected a cultural change, where once we feared what was animalistic, now we embraced it, especially if it came with superpowers and six-pack abs. TV shows like Teen Wolf and The Vampire Diaries took the concept even further, weaving werewolves into complex social hierarchies and emotional storylines. Viewers were no longer just scared, They were invested. The werewolf had evolved from monster to metaphor, representing everything from puberty and addiction to identity and trauma. But despite the glamorization of werewolves in entertainment, there are still those who claim they've encountered real ones. In places like Bray Road in Wisconsin, eyewitnesses report sightings of large wolf-like creatures walking on two legs, creatures that match no known animal. These stories, often shared late at night on forums and podcasts, suggest the werewolf myth is alive and well in the public imagination. Cryptozoologists, those who study unknown or hidden animals, refer to these creatures as dogmen or man-wolves, suggesting they might be undiscovered species or remnants of ancient folklore manifesting in modern sightings. Skeptics, of course, point to misidentifications, hallucinations, or hoaxes, but believers insist there's something more out there, something science has yet to explain. Could there be a rational explanation? Perhaps. Some theorists suggest a blend of environmental stress, mass hysteria, and cultural storytelling could create a kind of collective hallucination. When people expect to see a werewolf, especially in a wooded area under the moonlight, they may interpret shadows, animal cries, or fast-moving figures as proof of the supernatural. Still, the question remains, why do we keep returning to this myth? What is it about werewolves that captivates us, generation after generation? Maybe it's because the werewolf represents the ultimate identity crisis, the war between what we are and what we fear we could become. Unlike other monsters, the werewolf is us. It's not an alien or a ghost. It's a human, cursed or infected, losing control. It embodies our worst impulses and secret desires: rage, lust, aggression, freedom. The transformation is symbolic, the loss of humanity, the giving in to something primal. In this way, the werewolf becomes more than a myth. It becomes a mirror. So, werewolves, fact or fiction? Scientifically, no evidence confirms their existence, but culturally and psychologically, they are as real as any fear or fantasy we carry deep inside. Whether they roam forests or film screens, werewolves endure because they speak to something ancient in all of us. A howl in the night, a shiver down your spine, a legend that refuses to die. If you found this journey into the werewolf myth as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, comment your favorite werewolf story, and subscribe for more mysteries uncovered.